Hello students, this is Ambush sir. Dear students, today we will start a new chapter, that is chapter number 2 of class 12 biology, and this is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Students, the first heading in NCERT which is given is that flower, a fascinating organ of angiosperms. Students, concentrate here on this term, fascinating. Fascinating means something which absorbs a person. A person when absorbs in something, then that thing is called fascinating. So in this regard, these informations given about the flower, but these informations are in the language of a layman, means the person who is not concerned with that of the biology. So in the eyes of a layman, flowers are objects of aesthetic, ornamental, social, religious and cultural values. So students, concentrate on this term aesthetic. This is a root word. From this we get a derived word which is called aesthetics. The meaning of aesthetics is science of beauty. So in this way we can get the meaning of aesthetic. Aesthetic means concerned with beauty. So flowers are concerned with beauty. Yes, it is in the language of a layman. Now ornamental. We can decorate different items with the flower, or different occasions can be decorated with the flowers. Thereafter, they are the responsible for the values like social, religious and cultural. So for example, we can take birth ceremony, or we can take marriage, or we can take the last ritual of the life of a person, that is death ceremony. So in all the occasions, flowers, they become a most important part. Now next, flowers are the symbols of conveying human feelings such as love, affection, happiness, grief, mourning, etc. Now let us take in detail symbols of conveying human feelings such as love, affection, happiness. Again, when we talk about the same occasions like birth ceremony is there, or marriage is there, or any other related condition. So there the flowers are being used for the to express the love, the affection or the happiness. Now when we talk about the last ritual of the life of a person, that is death ceremony, again the flowers become an important part, like that may be the condition or extreme situation of the grief or mourning. That time again we express our feelings with the help of the flower. So in this way, all these informations, they point out the definition of a flower in the language of a layman. But when we talk about the meaning of a flower or the purpose of the flower, in the language of a biologist, or you can say in the language of an expert person. So that time flowers are called as the organs for sexual reproduction, or you can say the flowers are responsible for sexual reproduction. Students, in class 11th, you have studied the various parts of a flower. So again, I am going to give a recap of that. So let us draw a diagram of a flower. So this is a flower has 4 different holes. So this right now I'm drawing the central hole of a flower, which is called gynosium. And gynosium is made up of some units which are called as carpels. So this is the central hole, that is the gynosium. Now this I'm drawing the second hole from the outside, that is the corolla. So you are very well aware that corolla, they are brightly colored. You know what is the reason behind that? Yes, because they are responsible to attract the insects for the purpose of pollination. That's why the second hole from the outside, that is corolla, they are brightly colored. And corolla is again made up of units, and these units are called as petals. Now this is the third hole from the outside. I'm just going to draw. Which is called, collectively it is called as androecium. And the unit structures of this androecium, they are called as stamen. So right now I have drawn 2 stamens, 1 and 2, right? Okay. Now the outermost hole of the flower, that is the calyx, collectively called as calyx. So calyx This is the outermost hole of the flower, that is collectively called as calyx. And calyx, they are again made up of unit structures, and that is called sepals. So sepals are green in color. They just look like you can say a leaf like green in color. What is the purpose of the sepals in a flower, or you can say what is the function of the sepals? So sepals, they protect the flower in the bud stage, right? Petals, as I told you, they attract the insects for the purpose of pollination. Thereafter, just a moment. Now these petal, the corolla and the calyx, they are non-essential whole of a flower. Why? Because they have nothing to do with that of the reproduction. So now we are moving to the inner two holes, and here is the androecium and at the center gynecium. Now androecium and gynecium together, they form the essential whole of a flower, right? So calyx, corolla, they form the non-essential whole. Why? Because they have nothing to do with that of the reproduction. But when we talk about the androecium and gynecium, so they are responsible for the purpose of reproduction because they produce gametes, and that is why they become the essential whole of a flower. Now when we talk about this androecium, so androecium, as I told you, that they are made up of unit structures called as stamens. So this is a stamen. In this stamen, what you are observing, this is a slender stalk-like structure. A slender stalk-like structure. This is called filament. And at the top, here what you are observing, a bilobed structure, that is called anther. And this is the very place, or you can say the very site, where actually there is the formation of the gametes, right? So this stamen, collectively androecium, becomes the essential whole of a flower. Now moving on to the central whole, that is gynecium. So gynecium, they are again made up of unit structures, and here the units are called as petals. So sorry, not petals, it is the carpel. So in carpel, three parts are there. So just you concentrate here. This is the gynecium, and this gynecium is made up of two carpels. How I told that two carpels? Because at the tip, this gynecium is differentiated into three distinct parts. At the top, this lobed structure which you are observing, that is the receptive portion of the flower. Why receptive? Because it receives the pollen grains. So this portion, this top portion, which is actually your bilobed, is called the stigma. What? Stigma. Now, and the stigma is the, as I told you, is the receptive part of a flower because it receives the pollen grains. Now, this slender structure from here to here, that is called style. And now at the base, this globular portion, this is the part of the gynecium. Yes, this globular portion is called androecium. Sorry, it is called ovary. So stigma, style ovary, right? So there are the three different parts of gynoecium. But this gynoecium, right now, whatever I have drawn, it is having how many carpels? Yes, anybody, please tell me. It has two carpels. Why? Because at the top portion, I mean at the stigma, we are observing two lobes. These two lobes, they are giving the information that the gynoecium has two carpels, right? Now, in this gynoecium, when we talk about this basal portion, which is quite globular, this is the ovary, and inside the ovary there is actually the formation of the female gametes. That is why the gynoecium, they become again the essential part of a flower. So in this way, the androecium and gynoecium, they become the essential wholes of a flower. Now just see this portion, which is on which the different parts or different holes of a flower rest. I'm talking about this portion. This portion. What do we call? This is called thalamus. Also we can say receptacle, right? And this stalk-like structure of this flower, that is called pedicel. You know what is the function of this pedicel? Yes, by this pedicel the flower is attached with that of the plant, with that with the branch of a plant, you can say. Now, so as I told you that in this way we are observing the different holes of a flower, and if we try to show it in a diagrammatic way, so we can show in this way. This is the central hole, that is gynoecium. This is the just outer to the central hole, androecium. This is just outer to the androecium, corolla, and this is the outermost hole. What do you call it? Calyx. So these are the different holes, 4 holes. 1, 2, 3 and 4. From inner to outside, 1, 2, 3, 4, and from outer to inside, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 4 holes are there. Now, this is the sepal. The outermost hole of a flower is called calyx, and the unit is called sepal. So it's a sepal. What is the collective name of this sepal? Yes, it is calyx. So collectively they are called like the calyx. Now, next, this is the next hole from outside, and this is called petal. The unit structure, petal. Petal, right? Now, collectively, what do we call these? Corolla. Now next, androecium. Sorry, this should be here. This second most fold is the corolla, right? And this is the third most, you can see this one. This one. It is the, unit structure is the stamen. Stamen, and collectively what do we call? Androecium. Androecium. And now the central lobe. This is the central lobe. This is actually this one at the center, this one. This is called, the unit is called carpal. Right? And the collective name is gynoecium. So in this way, a typical flower has 4 rows. From outside to inside, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. These are the collective names. But when we talk about the units, so from outside to inside, sepals, petals, stamens, and carpel. So this is the figure. The name of the figure is LS, means longitudinal section. Of a typical flower. LS of a typical flower. Now, students, concentrate. In this flower, okay, just concentrate on the name of the chapter. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Means flowering plants, they normally exhibit the sexual reproduction. Why? Because they have flower. And why? Because in flowers, the sex organs are there. The male sex organs and the female sex organs. When we talk about the androecium, so androecium, they actually represent the male sex organ, where the male gametes are formed here inside the anther. And when we talk about the gynoecium, which is the central hole, so in gynoecium, when we talk about the ovary, so in the ovary, there is the formation of the female gamete. Ovary is the female, gynoecium is the female sex organ, and in the part of the ovary, there is the formation of the female gamete, that is the ovum. That is the, you can say, the egg. Okay. Now in this way, flower becomes responsible for the purpose of sexual reproduction. That is why the name of the chapter is Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. So students, this is all about today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will start different, structures of flower, like the pre-fertilization structures, and related events, then fertilization, and thereafter the post-fertilization structures and related events. So, thank you very much.